Howdy there. Swan Marion, the Bookworm Cowboy here. Hold on a moment. That's better. And I'm going to read a book for you all. The book's name is Timeline by Michael Crichton. The same guy who wrote Jurassic Park, Congo, Andromeda the Strain, and many others. This is his time travel book. Yeah. Yeah. Wait a minute. This book was turned into a movie once with Paul Walker and Jerry Butler. And it was, yeah, but it wasn't as long as the book is, which, according to some sources, I haven't read this whole book yet, but I really want to. And apparently it goes on longer, like a day or two in this book. But in the book, it's only 6 hours they have to make. But in this one, it's a couple of days, I think. Like 2 or 3 days. I don't know. I'll have to read and find out. Yeah. He should never have taken that shortcut. Dan Baker winced at his new Mercedes S500 sedan, bounced down the dirt road, heading deeper into the Navajo reservation in northern Arizona. Around them, the landscape was increasingly desolate. Distant red mesas to the east, flat desert stretching away in the west. They had passed a village a half an hour earlier. Dusty houses, a church, and a small school, huddled against the cliff. But since then, they'd seen nothing at all, not even a fence. Just empty red desert. He hadn't seen another car for an hour. Now it was noon, the sun glaring down at them. Baker, a 40-year-old building contractor in Phoenix, was beginning to feel uneasy, especially since his wife, an architect, was one of those artistic people who wasn't practical about things like gas and water. His tank was half empty, and the car was starting to run hot. "Leos," he said. "Are you sure this is the way?" Sitting beside him, his wife was bent over the map, tracing the route with her finger. "It has to be," she said. "The guidebook said 4 miles beyond the Corazon Canyon turnoff. But we passed Corazon Canyon 20 minutes ago. We must have missed it." "How could we miss a trading post?" she said. "I don't know." Baker stared at the road ahead. "But there's nothing out here. Are you sure you want to do this? I mean, we can get great Navajo rugs in Sedona. They sell all kinds of rugs in Sedona." "Sedona," she sniffed, "is not authentic." "Of course it's authentic, honey. A rug is a rug." "Weaving. Okay," he sighed. "Oh, weaving. And no, it's not the same. Those Sedona stores carry tourist junk. They're acrylic, not wool. I want the weaving so that they sell on the reservation. And supposedly, the trading post has an old sand painting weaving from the 20s by Hosting Kla, and I want it." "Okay, Leos." Personally, Baker didn't see why they needed another Navajo rug weaving anyway. They already had 24. She had them all over the house and packed away in closets, too. They drove on in silence. The road ahead shimmered in the heat, so it looked like a silver lake. There were mirages, houses of people rising up on the road. But always when you came closer, there was nothing there. Then Baker sighed again. We must have passed it. Let's give it a few more miles, his wife said. How many more? I don't know. A few more. How many, Liz? Let's decide how far we'll go with this thing. 10 more minutes, she said. Okay, he said. 10 minutes. He was looking at his gas gauge when Liz threw her hand to her mouth and said, Down! Baker turned around just in time to see a shape flash by. A man in brown at the side of the road. He heard a loud thump from the side of his car. Oh my God, we hit him, she said. What? We hit that guy. No, we didn't. We hit a pothole. In the rearview mirror, Baker could see the man still standing at the side of the road, a figure in brown, rapidly disappearing in the dust cloud behind the car as they drove by. We couldn't have hit him, Baker said. He's still standing. Dan, we hit him. I saw it. I don't think so, honey. Baker looked again in the rearview mirror, but now he saw nothing except the cloud dust behind the car. You better go back, she said. Why? Baker was pretty sure that his wife was wrong and that they didn't hit the man on the road. But if they had hit him, if he was going even slightly injured, just a hit cut, a scratch, then it was going to be a very long delay in the trip. They'd never get to Phoenix by nightfall. Anybody out of here was absolutely a Navajo. Undoubtedly a Navajo. They had taken him to a hospital, or at least to the nearest big town, which was Gallup, and that was out of their way. I thought you wanted to go back, she said. I do. Then let's go back then. I just don't want any problems, Leos. Dan, I don't believe this. He sighed and slowed the car. Okay, I'm turning. And he turned around, being careful not to get stuck in the red sand at the side of the road, and head back the way they had come. Oh, Jesus. Baker pulled over and jumped out into the dust cloud of his own car. He gasped as if he felt the blast of heat on his face and body. It must be 120 degrees out here, he thought. Are you all right? Baker said as he helped the man to sit up on the dirt road. The old man coughed. Yeah, I'm all right. You want to stand up? He said. He did not see any blood. In a minute. Baker looked around again. Where's your car? He said. The man coughed again. Head hanging limply, stared at the dirt road. Dan, I think he's hurt, his wife said. Yeah, Baker said. The old guy seemed to be confused. Baker looked around again. There was nothing but flat desert in all directions, stretching out away into a shimmering haze. No car, nothing. How'd he get out here? Baker said. Come on, Liz said. You have to get him to a hospital. Baker put his hands under the man's armpits and helped the old guy to his feet. The man's clothes were heavy, made of material like felt, but he wasn't sweating in the heat. In fact, his body felt cool, almost cold. The old guy leaned heavily on Baker's as they crossed the road. Liz opened the back door. The old man said, I can walk, I can talk. Okay, fine. Baker eased him into the back seat. The man lay down on the leather, curling into a fetal position. Underneath his robes, He was wearing ordinary clothes, jeans, a check shirt, Nikes. He closed the door and Liz got back into the front seat. Baker hesitated, remaining outside in the heat. Well, how was it possible the old guy was out here all alone, wearing all these clothes and not sweating? It was as if he had just stepped out of a car. Maybe he'd been driving, Baker thought. Maybe he'd fallen asleep. Maybe his car had gone off the road and he'd had an accident. Maybe there was someone else still trapped in the car. You're the only... You're the one. Left, heft it. Go back now. Get it now and how. Baker crossed the road to have a look. He stepped over a very large puddle. Considering showing it off to his wife, they then decided not to. Off the road, he didn't see any tire tracks, but he saw clearly the old man's footprints in the sand. Footprints ran back from the road into the desert. 30 yards away, Baker saw the rim of an arroyo, a ravine cut into the landscape. The footprints seemed to come from there, so he followed the footsteps back to the arroyo, stood at the edge, and looked down into it. There was no car. He saw nothing but a snake slithering away from him among the rocks. Shiver. Something white caught his eye, glinting into the sunlight, a few feet down the slope. Baker scrambled down for a better look. It was a piece of white ceramic, about an inch square. It looked like an electrical insulator. Baker picked it up and surprised it was cold to the touch. It was one of those new materials that didn't absorb heat. Looking closely at the ceramic, he saw the letters ITC stamped on one edge. And there was a kind of jump button recessed on the side. He wondered what would happen if he pressed the button. Standing in the heat with big boulders all around him, he pushed it. Nothing happened. Pushed it again. Again. Nothing. Baker climbed out of the ravine and went back to the car. The old guy was sleeping, snoring loudly. Liz was looking at the maps. Nearest big town is Gallup. Baker started the engine. Gallup it is. Like on the main highway, they made better time. Heading south to Gallup. The old guy was still sleeping. Liz looked at him and said, Dan? What? You see his hands? What about them? The fingertips. Baker looked away from the road, glanced quickly at into the back seat. The old guy's fingertips were red to the second knuckle, so he's sunburned. Just on the tips, not the whole hand, Baker shrugged. His fingers weren't like that before. They weren't red when he picked them up. You probably didn't notice them. I did notice because he had a manicure. I thought it was interesting that some old guy in this would have a manicure. Uh-huh. Baker glanced at his watch. He wondered how long they would have to stay at the hospital in Gallup. Hours, probably. He sighed. The road continued straight ahead. Yeah. I'm going to stop there now.